Hello, my name is Dylan, but you can call me Buttercup. Welcome to Buttercup's Fascinations. I have another probably quick project update for you today. First up, I'm going to talk about my uncle's sweater for a bit. I finished the first sleeve, as you can see. I think I've mentioned before that it was a mistake letting me learn the Italian bind off. Yeah, definitely, because now I'm going to use it for absolutely everything. It's beautiful. Look at that edge. Look at that edge. That is gorgeous. I'm in love with it. Who let me do that? Who let me learn that? You can kind of see where it ends over here, but from the outside, oh my goodness. It's too perfect. I shouldn't be allowed to learn these things. And it matches the tubular cast on perfectly. The cast on's been a little stretched out from when I've had my uncle try it on, but like once he tries this on, oh, perfect. And once it's blocked, because I am going to block this. I even got blocking mats specifically prompted by this. I have them on a shelf along with some wool wash. I got wool wash too. I had him try it on to make sure the length would be right, and he likes his sleeves fairly shorter than the pattern calls for, but it's going to work for him, which is the important part. This is such a lovely pattern, and I'm really enjoying working on it, and maybe that's biasing me on how well it's turning out, but I'm enjoying it. So I also started on the second sleeve. I just got to the first decrease. I think I might have explained what I'm doing with the decreases, but basically to get the sizing for both the sleeves and the chest right, I had to mix and match a bit with the sizing, and I added some of the extra increases up at the top in the shoulder area. That led to the stockinette columns going down the sleeves being wider, and I added the rest down on the underneath. So what I'm doing with the decreases is I'm doing, for the first 6 decreases, I'm alternating doing them in the stockinette columns up on the top of the sleeves and on the bottom. And so I have this first one here, I have one in the other one too on the other side, and that's just going to get them down to match what the pattern calls for this size of sleeve, well before the cuff, so that, you know, where the focus is by the hands, there's no decreases distracting from the line of it. They're up further in the body of the sleeve, where there will be less focus. And they blend in fairly well too, so you can kind of see on the other sleeve where one is, but when you're looking at it from farther away, it's not very obvious. So that's how this is going. Like I said, and have said repeatedly, I've been really enjoying working on this pattern. It's really lovely. I really have been enjoying it. Also, I apologize if you can hear my computer in the background. It's slightly fighting for its life, but it should be okay. But yeah, and I have the bottom stitches on hold. I got measurements for where he wants that to sit to, so that it'll be perfect for him. And I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really looking forward to giving him the finished finished piece. Things are falling over. Don't do that. Please. Okay. Anyway, because I needed for him to try it on before I finished the sleeve, I had about a week where I couldn't work on it because he hadn't tried it on yet. So I cast on with the leftover yarn from my deep winter coat a weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry, and I learned the Italian cast on for this. And again, who allowed this? Who allowed me to learn these things? It's so pretty, and I'm basically never going to do anything else again. I shouldn't be allowed to do these. I shouldn't have been allowed to learn these. They're fiddlier and they take more time, but they look so nice. Who thought that was a good idea? Me. I did. I thought it was a good idea. Anyway, I have joined the body in the round. I haven't been working on it for a few days because I got my uncle to try on his sweater, and I've been working on that instead. But I had to cast on the back ribbing 2 or 3 times. I think I had to rip out the first version of it that I did because the tail I used for the cast on was too short, and then I think I twisted it when I was knitting the first row, and I tried to ladder back down and fix it, but you can't really fix that with laddering it down, and I made it worse too. So I had to rip back and redo everything on the back ribbing, but I fixed it, and it looks great. And the front ribbing, I cast on, my job has a knitting club, an employee knitting club that I joined, which I think is super cool. And I've been enjoying getting to know the regulars. And I finished the back ribbing and cast on the front ribbing at a meeting of that club. And I was just kind of absently doing the cast on while listening to some conversation from a couple other people who were there. And at the time I thought, okay, let me stop and count. It turned out I had cast on the exact correct number of stitches at that point. I counted several times to confirm, and I paused to count with the exact right number of stitches. And yes, I did buy a lottery ticket that day. I didn't win. But that was really cool and really exciting. Just kind of serendipitous. So my plan for this is I'm making the largest size because I have a bunch of this yarn that I want to use up. And I'm going to be, number one, making the body a couple of inches longer than the pattern calls for. I don't like my sweaters quite as cropped as is the fashion these days. So I'm making it longer. There's some very long tails happening here. I'll deal with them later. Anyway, I'm making the largest size to use up as much iron as possible. I'm making it longer because I don't like cropped as much. And I'm going to be modifying the short rows for the front to not choke me with the neckline, because the neckline is very even between the front and back, and that doesn't work really well for me. Even regular t-shirts I constantly have to pull down in the front because the neckline just creeps up and up and up onto my throat, and I find that very uncomfortable. So what I'm going to do is, for the front in particular, I'm going to split the short rows into right and left, basically, to give the front neckline a bit of a rise that it wouldn't otherwise have. Like to give the, well, drop, I should say, to give the front neckline a bit of a drop that it wouldn't otherwise have. I hope that won't do funky things to the ribbing on the front, but we'll find out. I'm committed at this point, and if it does do funky things to the ribbing, I'll know I need to change my approach when I do the fingering weight version that I have planned. I have some lovely cotton yarn ready for that. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting challenge for me. Who knows? Maybe I'll really like it and I'll get lucky and it'll come out perfectly from the jump. But let's be real, I'm not that lucky. I got lucky with the cast on. We'll see what happens with the rest. But yeah, this yarn is nice and soft, but I did get knots in every single cone, and it really likes to split. The plies do not like to stay together. Like, this end has just been hanging loose, and it doesn't want to stay together. So, but it makes a nice fabric, and it'll be nice to have to wear, if nothing else. So, but since it's worsted weight and a somewhat loose gauge, it shouldn't take too long once I finish my uncle's sweater to make more progress on my weekender. So that'll be nice. I think that's all that I have in terms of project updates. Yeah, I'm really enjoying both of the projects I have going right now, even if I'm only working on one. And yeah, life is good. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.